Hey everybody, this is Ryan from the Breaking Bad show. A couple weeks ago, we had our friend Adam Wills on the show. Adam's a former police officer. He now is the owner and runs LEO to CEO. And part of his brand is Secret Squirrel CEO. And Adam hooked both Chad and I up with some of his swag. Proud to be sporting that right now. Shout out Adam. Appreciate the swag. Is awesome. Head on over to his website, leotoceo.com. Check out Adam. See what he's doing. He's got some free trainings over there that you can check out. And of course, pick yourself up some Secret Squirrel CEO swag. If you're listening to our show, then I imagine that you're probably a supporter of law enforcement. And if you're a supporter of law enforcement, I'd also imagine that you probably have heard of the nonprofit Irish Angel. Irish Angel provides support to law enforcement officers and military personnel in regards to post-traumatic stress disorder, mental health, anxiety, and alcohol and drug abuse. And they've got chapters that started in Boston and New York, but they're really starting to take off and spread throughout the United States. Now, if you've heard of Irish Angel, then I have to also imagine that you have heard of and seen the face and the person behind Irish Angel, Amanda Coleman. We have an awesome show for you coming up today with Amanda, and she's going to share her story about how she, being all the way from Ireland, became involved with a nonprofit here in the United States, supporting police officers and military personnel. Stay tuned for our interview today with Amanda Coleman. This is the Breaking Bad Show. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Breaking Bad Show. I'm Ryan.
Hey, everybody. I'm Chad.
And today we got another amazing guest up for you folks. I'm sure many of our listeners have heard of her. And I was so excited that she was even going to be willing to come on our show and allow us to speak with her and be able to be a part of helping spread the word about Irish Angel and what they're doing. So today's guest, let's welcome to the show, Amanda Coleman, who is the Executive Director of Irish Angel. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here, especially with you.
Amanda. Welcome.
Why wouldn't I come on the show, right?
We appreciate it. This is a big honor for us because of all the work you do and all the amazing, if everyone's on LinkedIn following Amanda, she's all over the country and she's not even from this country originally. She's traveled more than I am, and I'm an American. She is just all over doing it. They're opening chapters of Irish Angel. If you go on LinkedIn and look at the Irish Angel page, there's over 83,000 followers, 83,000. So Amanda, tell us about Irish Angel. How did this come to be? It hasn't been that long.
No, it actually has. It's been probably, I'd say 20, no, when is it? 16, 2016, I think. It was in the run up to the elections then. We were having trouble in Ireland and our law enforcement, and it's very different than it is in America. You couldn't speak about it, and I was a bit pissed off. So my cousin was like, "No, Amanda," he says, "we have it bad." He said, "But the States has it worse. You need to see what's happening in the States." So I took to the internet and had a look, and I've seen the war on police officers. And to say it broke my heart was an understatement, just because I have family in law enforcement. So it didn't matter where you were in the world. You knew that the people behind the badge are human, right? They're just like everybody else. And some people just don't get that. So yeah, it broke my heart. So I just took to LinkedIn and started to post messages of support. Probably, it was about 2015, 2016. Not thinking anything of it or whatever. And it was kind of in and around the time that Blue Lives Matter was starting to. And I was inundated with messages from police agencies across America thanking me for what I was doing. And I had no clue that I had such a profound impact, but it did. At that point, they were feeling pretty low, that they thought that their job was in vain and everything else. And so, I was I was touched by it. And then a SWAT team got together and they sent me a certificate with Irish Angel on it. It was an honorary call sign. So that got me right in the feels. So a guy, Stephen Brooks, sent it to us, him and his SWAT team. And so I built a website then, because I'd seen so much hatred towards them online. So I built a website where we could go share news and talk about topics and honor the fallen and what have you. But it was a safe haven. So you could go on, username and password. So nobody but we were vested basically before he came on. And in doing that, I started to notice the conversations back and forth. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of what was going on in my own life, or had been all of my life. I've my stories for another day, but it was trauma after trauma after trauma. And I grew up in a family where addiction and mental health issues were a big thing. So I did a bit of research and I started to find out what was going on within the mental health field. And I knew that suicide was a thing within the veteran community, but no clue how big it was within the law enforcement and first responder community. So, yeah, it really got to me. So the sheriff in Schenectady, who was a dear friend of mine, he was like, Angel, you've got all this following now. What do you want to do? I was like, I can't do anything. I said, I'm not American. He says, well, what would you like to do? I was like, well, I'd love to be able to help people. So he says, well, you're not American, but I am, he said. So he said, I'll set up Irish Angel. He said, and you want to. So that's what we did. Did some research, found out what was needed. Obviously, this is stigma surrounding mental health. And everyone is trying to raise awareness to that and try and break down them walls, right? But that's a work in progress. And it's, it's a difficult task, but I wanted to see what was the other, obstacles in the way. Was it insurance? Was it, what was it? So I went around a couple of treatment facilities, and the consensus was that transportation is not covered a lot in the treatment. Even if they haven't got insurance, some places would cover their treatment, but the transportation wouldn't be. So I knew that's where we needed to start. So that's kind of where it all got founded. But, it's been a difficult journey has been an understatement, because, we got our 501c3 back in December 2019, and we opened our chapter in Boston. And then in March, we were to have our event. And 3 weeks before I was due to fly out, COVID hit. So that was a kick in the teeth. And then the riots happened, and that hindered our abilities to fundraise, because, companies were afraid to be associated with organizations such as ourselves, who were so pro-police, that even though they supported us, they didn't want to have their name on the website for fear of what would happen to their businesses. So we literally had to take a back seat and just kind of ride the wave out in the hopes that we would be okay and come out of it unscathed. And we did, thankfully, we did. So we kicked off the bash last year, and it's been that's kind of really when the official Irish Angel really started. So we're doing good stuff now. We've flown a couple of people in for treatments now to be able to go and get their treatments. One was from Guam, which was huge for us, veterans. So, the more fundraise to raise more funds, because the demand for people who are going out of state to have their treatment and can't afford the travel expenses is huge. Or if there's not a treatment covered on the insurance, then we help with that too. So that's part of the reason why I'm outgrowing this bad boy, running around the country.
You are a world traveler.
Oh, I know, right?
When you were making those posts back in 2016, 17, why do you think it resonated so much in law enforcement?
I think just because I had seen, it was vicious. What I was watching online it was soul destroying. For anybody in general, to put up with that abuse, and to watch your comrades die at the hands of others for nothing, just sitting in your car, that really bothered me. And then the rhetoric that was being built, and it seems to always happen every time there's an election on, there's a rhetoric against law enforcement, and the sad thing about it is they're politicized massively, and it's wrong, because they forget that these people are human beings, and it's bad enough that they have a job that us civilians wouldn't have a clue how to do or comprehend what they see. But the fact that they get no support sometimes from their peers, no support from the government, no support from the streets. I mean, it's a constant bombardment of negativity, and on top of what's already a stressful job to begin with. I mean, I can't as just a civilian comprehend that. Like, I really can't. So it was down to us to try and make a difference, even if it meant just posting a message of support, because I was a hairdresser from Ireland. I had no clue that what I was doing was going to help anybody, but I just wanted them to know that, we're thinking of them. There is people out there that do actually care about them, and want them to be okay. That was the be all and end all of it for me, really. Yeah.
That's terrific. Do you remember the first time you realized it hit you? Wow, I'm really onto something, or we're onto something. Do you remember? You remember where you were, what you were doing?
Yeah, I was in my bedroom on my phone, as you do, and I was going. It was kind of like when I started to get all these letters from police departments, and some were physical handwritten letters that were sent to me home, and you could feel the emotions from them. And someone was saying to me, the fact that you were from another country doesn't even matter, and some of them even say you're more patriotic than most in our own country that want to help us. So they kind of, when I seen that, and I seen how things was worded, I knew it was genuine, that they weren't just doing it for the sake of doing it just to be nice. I actually felt in their texts or in their emails or their letters that it was an emotion, that they were actually feeling it, and that meant something to me. So Irish Angel was not, I'm not about the fame game. That's not who I am. And my board sometimes give out to me, because I'm often the one that will say, like, you'll only see pictures of me sort of recently. I'll post the odd one every now and then. It's not about me. To me, it's not about me. It's about the mission. And it's about what we do. And they're like, Amanda, you are Irish Angel. You're the face of Irish Angel. You are Irish Angel. So you need to get out there and start putting yourself out. And I'm like,
it is a branding kind of thing. Yeah, you got to get yourself out.
It is. Yeah.
I know.
But
you're
that
so
in itself
humble.
was difficult. And that one in itself, for me, was difficult, because it wasn't about me. It was about doing what was right to help other people, especially when you come from a background that has law enforcement in the family and military. But two, when you're one of those family members, those survivors of mental health and addiction, that is a battle in itself. And so what can go on within families, what can go on within the minds of people who are struggling, and that's near and dear to you. So it stirs me on even more. So it's not about necessarily me. It's about helping them. If my story helps that along the way, then great. But it's not about me.
Wow, I love that.
Definitely.
Ryan and I talk about leadership all the time, and great leaders deflect credit. Great leaders put the credit somewhere else. They don't want to be at the forefront. That's awesome to hear. Most people live a lifetime and never can make the impact or have the impact on the masses like you have had. What does Irish Angel mean to you? How does it make you feel?
Irish Angel is everything to me now. It's funny, because you go through your life when you've had trauma in your life, which, to be honest, I think everybody has their stuff going on. Everybody suffers with some degree, and trauma is trauma. But for me, when I started Irish Angel, I found that there was a lot of healing in it. So as much as it was helping others, you can't buy that satisfaction that you get once you're helping somebody. And I don't mean just financially, but if you're helping if you're just there for somebody, if they want to reach out to you just to talk to you, or I get that phone call where it's like, Amanda, we have someone and they're suicidal. and you know that you can make that call and have treatment to them within anything from 20 minutes to an hour, no matter where they are in the country, that you cannot actually physically buy that, you know. I can look at myself in the mirror now and say, you know what, you're all right. You've done something good. And that's, wow. You can't, honest to God, money doesn't even come into it. It's about doing that. That's what it's about.
That's amazing. You know, every single person, that high achiever that's doing something amazing for other people, they all are passionate. There's nobody that's like, well, yeah, I like doing it. It's okay. I come to work. I mean, they're extremely passionate driven.
Yeah.
Where does little Amanda Coleman, like where do these experiences that these police officers, first responders, some of the trauma and pain that they're dealing with, how did that, because of your passion, how does that connect to you? Or was there experiences that they went through that you went through as a little girl or upbringing?
Yeah, no, right up till now, like, you know, mental health. My mom suffers really bad with mental health. And unfortunately, she got PTSD through grief. My brother died in 93. And she never looked after it. She used alcohol and drugs as a crutch, or, you know, prescription meds as a crutch to try and help her blur it out, I suppose, in many ways. But the sad thing about it was, for her, she let it go so neglected that she ended up having, in 2015, she was diagnosed with something called parapsychosis, which is it's a horrible, debilitating illness. And she was doing okay. She's been doing okay. And then they changed her meds probably about five years into it, I think. And they changed her meds to a generic version, and it completely screwed her up again. And she got to the point where she throughout her life, she tried to commit suicide. Yeah, it's living through that and understanding that gives me a better understanding of them. So it's like, you know, when I see the suicides, that really gets me, particularly if they're retired. Because you know what, the mental health end of things, I understand it. But for me, somebody who gives sacrifices their life to protect others every day, whether it's a firefighter, EMS, whatever it is, dispatch, whatever, they're all out there doing a job that we wouldn't dare do. So when I hear that someone has served their whole life in a job that is given to others, and then takes their lives, that just, to me, like, it's gut wrenching, because, you know, it's like, I can't, to go all that time and then just for that to happen is just, oh my God, I can't even tell you. So it really does, it gets to me. But that's what steers me on, because we need to try change a culture surrounding mental health and addiction, because they both go hand in hand. So you could use prescription meds, you could use alcohol, whatever makes you try and drown out the day. But the sad thing about it is, it has such a profound impact on the families too. It doesn't just happen to the individual, it happens to the families, because they come home, they don't want to talk about what they've seen throughout the day. And, you know, and there's that breakdown of communication, which is why the divorce rate is so high within law enforcement in particular. But yeah, it's something that I'm extremely passionate about being able to help with. And again, the retirees, they go undocumented. And that is a massive thing. The amount of people that reach out for help who are retirees is huge, because they feel they have no purpose. The phone stops ringing. You know, they feel like they're not a part of that brotherhood anymore. And that in itself is it's soul destroying to them. So I believe we have to change a culture, not just on the retiree front, but from the top down, and then bring into the academies the warning signs of what's going to happen, because these kids go in now and they have no clue about what's going to actually happen on the job, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the kids nowadays are a little bit softer than the guys years ago, right? So the guys years ago are leaving law enforcement. They don't talk. The kids coming in, all they want to do is talk, but they need the experience of the veterans. So it's if we could get them a happy medium, we'd be doing okay. But yeah, it's a work in progress. We're working on a couple of things, trying to work some programs into place to prepare for retirement, which will probably roll out I'm hoping probably a year. We prepare people a year to 2 years for retirement, because departments will talk about your pension and what you're going to do once you leave, but they don't talk about what's actually going to happen once you do leave. When that phone does stop ringing, and when people, you feel like you've got no skills and all that kind of stuff. So we want to try help with that. So Irish Angel is like a bit like an onion aspect of things, from the retirees, the support, being able to send people for treatment. There's a lot going on, but it's all good and positive. It's really positive.
That's great. When there's an officer suicide, it breaks my heart. When I see it, I just read one about a sergeant who retired, I think over 32 or 33 years, and 2 years later. Yeah. It's so sad. It's like you work your whole career, and there is the agency moves on. Nobody cares about you anymore. It's just the way it is.
You're just another number. That's the sad thing. You're just another number. Your job becomes your life. It's like having two families. It's ingrained in you. It's everything you've ever known. And then all of a sudden it's gone. But the department moves on, and you're left with, you feel like you've nothing, So that's a huge issue. Issue.
That's huge.
Issue.
So
I know in the veteran.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
I say, I know in the veteran community, they have the transition, they help with transition, but there's not much going on in law enforcement.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, law enforcement is nothing. I mean, Ryan and I both went through it. Nobody's walking you through with a checklist. Hey, you might want to check with this or do this. There's nothing. Like, you just leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy. My last question, Amanda, I want to know a little bit about you. Can you share with us just a little bit about the personal side of things, like married, children, anything you're willing to share?
No, I'm not married. I'm with somebody. I've been with somebody for 15 years. I have 3 kids. My kids, 2 girls, Deanna and Lena. They're 28. Well, Deanna will be 28 next month, and Lena is 18, and then David is 13. Yeah, so
you have a 28-year-old?
I do.
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed
I
that.
had her when I was 18. I was only a baby myself. But
that's awesome. How are they supportive of your mission that you're on?
Oh, they love what I do. They love what I do. It took them a long time to understand it and figure it out. And then once they started to see it take off, they got more knowledge behind it. And it's so funny because I live in a pretty liberal socialist country. And, they're fed a lot of the rhetoric that goes on over here sometimes. And now to see them stand up and say, no, you're wrong about that. People start talking about law enforcement, putting them down. They'll be like, no, well, you don't know the other side of the story. So it's actually warms my heart to see that, because now they're taking an interest in it. Now they know exactly what's going on, that there's 2 sides to every story, and they see what's happening when it comes to the suicides too. So yeah, they're pretty understanding, and they're proud of their mama. That's for sure. I miss them now when I'm away, but they have their own lives too. Irish kids are a little bit more, I don't want to say advanced mentally, as in they're not as kiddish, I suppose, as what the kids here are. So they're very independent. They go off, do their own thing. Even my 13-year-old, he's like, doing his thing, has his girlfriend, plays the sports, all that kind of stuff. It's like, who's me, ma? But when I'm here, like, I talk to them every day on the phone. They're good kids, So it's like I'm still there, because they're always out doing things anyway. So, it's great. God bless the power of the iPhone, right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So, Amanda, what is the mission of Irish Angel?
The mission of Irish Angel is to help educate, raise awareness and resources for those suffering in crisis with mental health and addiction. So we want, and part of it is we will be having February 23rd through 25th, we start off our conferences here in Boston, and we're going to be taking them through to the chapters that we have across the states. And it's to educate, to try educate some of the leaders when it comes to the mental health field, and different techniques as to how to, like we're working with a company now, and they're going to do stuff around second-degree trauma through interrogation. So it's trying to give people, different avenues to try and educate their members on how to protect themselves whilst they're doing their job. So education is a massive thing. And then being able to practically help somebody, like physically help with funding, that's a huge thing for me, because actions speak louder than words as far as I'm concerned, So yeah, the more we can send, the better it is. We want to give everybody a fighting chance, to live a normal life.
Yeah. So as you're out and you're working with different first responders, you're working with the leaders that are going to help and everything, what are you hearing from the ground on what some of the root causes are for the mental health troubles that first responders are having and that are leading to suicides?
A lot of it is to do with the whole stigma surrounding mental health. You have this whole the rubber gun squad thing that freaks law enforcement out. Like they're afraid to reach out in case they're judged, and they think that that judgment's always going to stay with them. Aside from that, there's what they're experiencing on the job, and they're taking it home to their families. That's causing strife at home. And then the lack of support, it's just getting worse. Like, we're actually opening a chapter in Chicago now, and I've been talking to so many police officers out there, and one of them, she's a beautiful girl. Melinda, she was Ella French's commander. And she's going to be part of the team for an Irish Angel in Chicago. But, the consensus is that they feel like they have a job to do, but they're not allowed to do their job. And that not being able to go in and do what they need to do, that's soul destroying for them, and especially when they're surrounded by so much crime. It's insane. So yeah, that has a detrimental effect on their well-being. But definitely it's the stigma, it's the reaching out for the help and just trying to get it, they just don't know what to do. But having said that, there's loads of laws now that they can reach out and they can say, look, I need help, and they don't have to explain. If they go to the departments, their administration, as long as they say they want full confidentiality on this, then they just say, I need help. There's a law, I can't remember that. I'm terrible with figures. I know it's got loads of numbers on it. But anyway, this law that's in place basically with that can be kicked into effect, and they're not allowed to talk to their peers about it unless they're a threat to themselves, immediate threat to themselves. Then they can. But other than that, but it's educating the officers on that law, that they can reach out for help, and and it has to be granted. Because the fear of the whole rubber gun thing is huge. It's huge for law enforcement.
It's just, I think it's such a shame to hear, especially like you mentioned about the people in Chicago, that, here we are, just like you, out living your passion, providing what you want to provide, doing what you want to do. We have officers that come to work and they want no more than to be able to go out and serve their communities. Yeah. And make their communities better, and they're being prevented from every side from being able to do so. And it's, it's going to be awful on them, and it's a shame to hear the mental health that's the way it's affecting their mental health as well.
It really does. It's just as well, like, you're watching communities just destroy themselves. I personally think that there's all these foundations out there, including Black Lives Matter and everything else, that has all these millions and millions of dollars. They should be investing that money into the Black communities and building them up. Because if you build it up to where it's a good community, have good schooling, have, everything else, keep kids occupied, then we wouldn't have this mess, But I think that's something that the government needs to work on with the communities and with charities who raise funds for that, because you have to start putting the money back into them. It's the only way to get out of that whole way of living. It's they have to invest the money into it, and there's so much money invested into things that's just not needed. That's not a priority. People need to get their priorities straight. And one is law enforcement, as in helping law enforcement, funding law enforcement, and allowing them, take the handcuffs off them and allow them to do their job. Because it's funny for me to watch, because I live in a country where there's no guns. Well, not when I say there's no guns, there is our criminals have guns. Our law enforcement don't. Our beat cops don't. They have a little can of pepper spray and an asp. But we do have armed response units. But that, and thankfully we've a new commissioner now, and we're getting more and more of that. But at the end of the day, we need the police forces need to be funded to be able to get out there and do their jobs. Just because people want guns off the streets, they want to take weapons away from people, doesn't mean to say that criminals are not going to still have them, and it's sad to watch it. Like, I see it with our own police officers, their hands is tied behind their backs, and yet there's these tit for tat killings that's going on all the time, but nothing's been said about that. We don't even have taser guns, so it's our officers that are being put at risk just as much as the officers in the United States, because the level of crime is on another level here in comparison to there. But how that impacts people as a whole has nothing but a detrimental effect to what goes on up here. It's just negativity, and it just builds and builds and builds. Yeah. And we have to try and change that as much as we can. And I know I'm only like this one little person, but the way I see it is this: if you drop a pebble into an ocean, right, it may only make a little splash, but it has a massive ripple effect. So if we all just get together, those who are in this for the right reasons, we can all make a difference when it comes, drop all them pebbles in, and we can all make a difference in the mental well-being of those who are serving us. It's really important, really important.
That was beautifully said, Amanda. And I'm definitely going to have Chad send over that quote for me before the show comes out, because that's going to be a great intro quote right there. So that was awesome.
Well, it's funny, right? Amanda, our tagline here for the show is helping one person a day, every day, because our thing is, it's so easy to look at the top of the mountain and want to do all these amazing things. But if you just focus on helping one person a day, every day, you pull yourself back, and after years and years, you help thousands of people. So it's
exactly, and what the men, for me, it's my LinkedIn page, you'll see the pinup girls every day, right? Not a lot of people, every now and then someone would say to me, why do you post them? And I'm like, why wouldn't I? Since I started doing what I'm doing back in 2015, I've always done it. And the reason why I do it is the amount of people that reach out to us, and I don't mean just men, the amount of people that reach out to us and say, you know what, with the mental health being as serious as it is, it's really nice just to have something that uplifts you every morning. And it reminds them of a time where the world was a better place, which was the World War II, the pinup girls to be on the planes that when World War II was going on, and it used to instill hope into the veterans when they were away. It reminded them of what they missed at home. So I always post them. I'll always continue to post them because it uplifts on those. Mental health is a very serious topic, and it can be it can get in on you, if you're talking about it constantly, it can get in on you, and it can dampen everything. So you need something to kind of uplift people too. It's all about lifting and loving on people. You have to give your smile to somebody, you really do. Even if it just makes them, like you said, just one person a day, that you put a smile on somebody's face, then you've done something good for the day.
Yeah, that's great. That's my goal always on social media too, is just to make people smile. There's so much negativity. There's so much sadness on there. So I want to be the bright spot in somebody's day. So I love you. I love the posts.
Yeah. They're good, right?
I think so. I love something. It's different. It stands out. It makes you smile. I really like them.
It's part of the brand. It's part of who we are. I've run into people that's asked me to change it, and I stopped doing it for a while. And then you'd want to see the emails I was getting. One of our followers, great guy, emailed me through the website, and he said, why did you stop putting the pinup girls up every day? And I was like, I was thinking to myself, "Is he a bit weird?" So I went back to him, and I was laugh when he hears this. I went back to him and I was like, "Oh, thanks," or whatever. I was like, "Maybe we'll bring them back." He said, "No," he said, "I'm not a weirdo." He said, "I'm my daughter who loves that era." He said, "Every day I screenshot your pinup girls and the message and I send them to her every single day."
Oh,
And
that's
he
great.
screenshot the text message from her saying, "Where's me pinup girls?" So I was like, they're going back. So they're back up there now again. You know, so they uplift people every day, regardless of what people think or not. But, you know, it's part of who we are. And I think you have to stay true to who you are. If you start, I didn't want to be another nonprofit. Not that there's anything wrong with nonprofits who are very, very serious. I am a serious kind of person when it comes to doing what I do. But having said that, you know, people follow us because of who we are, how we are, and what we represent. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if people want to continue to follow us for who we are, then we will remain that way. That's just the be all and end all of it. Otherwise you become just like everybody else. And that's a pretty boring place.
Absolutely. So, and now I can't remember if we were chatting about this before we started recording or we mentioned this while we were recording, but I know you were talking about all the chapters that were starting to open up across the United States. So what are you excited for what's coming up with Irish Angel, and where do you see it going in the next couple of years?
Oh God, I don't even know. I'm just kind of taking it day by day. And it's amazing to me to see. Particularly Police Week was the thing for me, right? Because we had already done a lot of groundwork when it came to we're opening Florida, Colorado, Arizona, Texas, and I'm missing another one. What's the other one? Oh my God, I am missing one. Florida, Colorado, Texas, Arizona. Am I? Oh my God, it'll probably come back to me.
Did you say Chicago? Did you say you were
Chicago? That's the
okay.
one. So when we were at Police Week, people literally came over. They were like, "You're the first tent we wanted to come to. We love what you do." And then so there was loads of people from other areas of the country. That was the whole thing about it, was people from all over the country were coming over. They knew who we were and they wanted to be a part of it. And it was like, you know, we want to get on board with this and we really want to help people. And that's when I knew, actually, if ever there was a moment that I knew that we were doing something good, it was then. And even the lads who I was with, like Scott and Joe and Doc, they were like, "This is crazy." Like we had no clue, right? You knew online you have this presence, right? But to physically meet people and they know who you are, it's like, whoa. It's a big thing for me, because like I said, I'm one of these people that hides behind the podium, you know, and doesn't really step away from it. So it was unusual for me. It's a learning curve. I'm getting there.
That realization that when you're in that crowd, you're now a celebrity, right?
But like, I'm just a normal person. I just find it funny that people say to me, "Oh my God, you're Irish Angel." And I'm like, "No. Maybe." You know, it's strange. It's strange, especially after COVID, because with COVID, Ireland was the longest on lockdown in the world with Cuba. So we literally fully just opened probably around February. Wow. And for me, it was extremely COVID was extreme as well for everybody was, but it was hard on me because I work from home. So my kids would go to school, go to work. My other half goes to work. So it's just me and the dog, right? So I'm doing what you need to do in the house. And then you start on Irish Angel. And then I'm doing Irish Angel till 5 a.m. because I do all the different time zones around the States. So then I'm going to sleep and then I wake up at 10 o'clock. So I normally get 5 hours sleep, but then because everybody is home, it's like wakey time. So I'm getting like 3 hours sleep and everybody's on your floor. And it was horrible. Like I thought I was having a nervous breakdown. I was like, oh my God. It took me a long time to adjust to it. But when I did, and then I got to go to the States again. I got an exemption from the government to say that I could travel before it opened up in October for our bash in October. And then lo and behold, just before I flew out, I got COVID, so I couldn't go. It was a nightmare. So then I got tested, and they said, okay, we're giving you the green light now, you can go. So I was like, great. That was the end of October. I was going to a conference in Vegas, the Wounded Blue, and jumped on the plane, sitting on the plane, and I'm going to myself, what are you doing? What are you doing? You haven't been around people like in 2 years. Apart from going to the shop, right? I haven't been around people. So that was the first realization for me when I went to the conference the next day, and I walked in and everybody was just like, you're Irish Angel, you're Irish Angel. And people started coming over to me, and I started to get a bit, oh my God, because I people. It was fine. I was grand, but it was an experience. Like, so it's hard for me to get used to the fact that people know who you are, and when you're just living your life at home, you're just this normal everyday kind of a person, right? So people don't know what you do. So where here is just completely different.
So Amanda, for our listeners who are listening right now, and they want to find out more about Irish Angel, and they're looking for ways that they can help and contribute, where can they find you? Where can they learn more about Irish Angel, and what can they do to help?
Well, irishangel.org, you can head there. We've had a bit of bother with our website, so we're like literally getting that sorted now. But we're a blog website. So when we became a 501c3 first, we stopped the blogging. But for me, it was about, that's why people like us. So we need to go back to that. So the new website, it's back to a blog website. So we encourage people to come on and talk about their stories, because you never know who it's resonating with and what boxes you might tick. And then we have the resources available to be able to reach out for people to get help. And then we want to maintain the recovery. So there's health, fitness, nutrition, all that kind of thing. So if you're within those fields and you want to get involved, you can email me at amanda.irishangel@gmail.com. Or if you guys want to donate or buy anything from the store, it's all up there on the website, or you can support one of our events. Or even if you want to get involved with a chapter, please reach out to us. I mean, we're open to having conversations and growing this as much as we can to be able to help as many people as we can.
That's awesome. So everyone go to irishangel.org, check out the website, get some swag. I saw some great pictures of some nice, awesome t-shirts that they had on.
Isn't up yet. Our new store is going to go up fairly soon. So
okay.
We're going up very soon. So yeah, they're nice. Did you like them?
Yeah, those were cool. Those are really nice. I like those. So when the store is up, you're gonna have to send us a message. We'll blast it out to our audience as well.
Absolutely. I'll have to send you guys a shirt.
That'd be great. Thank
you. But definitely.
All right. So Amanda, before we kick it over to Chad to do his famous 5 questions, I like to ask our guests what their favorite book is, or book recommendation. Now, I don't know. I know when I fly, I love to bring a book, and that's some great reading time for me. So are you a reader, and what is your favorite book?
I'm actually not a reader, but a dear friend of mine, John Kelly, wrote a book, and he gave it to me the other day. I read the books that people send me. It takes me forever to read them because, one, I'm dyslexic. It's not that I can't read, it's just that my brain doesn't process stuff. So the audio books are great. It sticks in my head. But John just wrote a book. I actually just posted it up on Irish Angel the other day, and it's great. And it's a clear, very open and honest description about mental health within law enforcement and someone's troubles of what they went through. I'll just pull up the name of it now for you. But it's a great read. It's called, Surviving Self-Inflicted Wounds, a deputy's / life of redemption. So
that is beautiful. Our friend of the show, John Kelly, getting another plug for his book.
His book is awesome. Great.
The funny thing is,
he might be helping us with our chapter in Florida. So
that's awesome.
We had a meeting with him there last
awesome.
week. So yeah, he's a top guy. He really is. Him and his wife. His wife is amazing too. We
had John on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he was phenomenal. We had a lot of fun, a lot of great feedback on the episode. So I'm psyched that you have his book. And
I do. I read it. And it's not a huge book. It doesn't need to be huge, because you know what? I think for the likes of people who's in the services and stuff, they want a quick read, right? They don't want this massive novel thing. They don't have time to get lost in it. But that was clear to the point, and you know, you couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down. So with all the traveling around I've been doing, that's what I've been reading on the plane now, and I was loving it.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
We have a segment here we call 5 questions. It's a rapid fire game. We want to know about you. Are you willing to play?
Yeah. Why? I never really talk about myself. This is really weird for me. Go on.
Okay. These are fun. These are not deep or anything like that.
Right.
So 5 questions, random. No, we didn't pick these specifically for you. Just want to see what your thoughts are. Favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Yes.
Did you see the new one?
No, not yet. I'm dying.
I heard it's amazing. I haven't seen it.
I heard it's great. I heard it's better than the first one.
Yeah. All right. Current go-to jam on your playlist?
Oh, Bruno Mars, Versace on the Floor.
So hold on a second. I was with my wife. This is going to be a really personal story. She's going to murder me. But when I get motivated, I can't do anything about it. This is probably 2-3 years ago. The album came out. That album was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But you know, we're laying in bed, we're just hanging out, doing what couples do, and I have my I call it the love playlist. I have it on shuffle. Well, Versace on the Floor comes on, and I stop what I'm doing, and I get up and I just start singing it because it just makes you move. And I'm doing a little dance for her, and she's like, "What are you doing? You're not Bruno Mars." Such a good song, right? Put it on with your wife. It's a good song. All right, sorry.
I love it. My favorite song.
All right, Amanda Coleman, happiest moment you've had as a parent?
As a parent, probably every day the kid was born. Yeah.
That's cool. Birthdays, yes. Born days. All right, first or current celebrity crush?
Oh, God. Michael J. Fox when I was a kid.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, Marty McFly.
He broke my heart the day he got married. Oh, I was devastated.
That is funny. All right, last question. Saturday night, you have nothing going on. You're sitting around. Your significant other, the kids. What are you guys doing?
Oh, God. Probably nothing, because we don't. That's the night he watches sports, and I sit in my room doing what I'm doing.
What are you crafting? Journaling? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just working on stuff for Irish Angel. Yeah.
That's awesome.
When I tell you it's my life, I mean, I'm a sad, sorry person. It is my life.
There's nothing wrong with that. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have the things we have without people fighting for it. So, absolutely. 5 questions with Amanda Coleman. Good job.
First fight in life.
Awesome job, Amanda.
Thanks.
Amanda, we know that you're very busy with traveling and all the things that you do with Irish Angel and for our first responders out there. So we can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on and share with us a little about yourself, about what you're doing with Irish Angel, and about Irish Angel, to get that out there to our audience and everything. So thank you very much for taking the time. It was a pleasure getting the opportunity to chat.
It's great to be on. Loving the show. Loving it. I'm glad you've done it. It's great.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We know you're going to add value to people. We know that. You're already doing it. So thank you.
Sure. Look, one day at a time, one person at a time. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amanda. All the best to you.
You too.
See you next time, everybody.